Oh, good morning. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. It's not showing me on the screen here. But my name is Amber. I work with Tyrone at the Nisqually Indian Tribe. I'm a descendant of the tribe. I've been working here for 4 years now, and we've been doing the best we can, just like everybody else, trying to make sure we can protect our community. I'll start just by sharing a little bit about where we started in the beginning of the pandemic. We had already in place a mutual aid agreement through the American Indian Health Commission with Thurston County. So thankfully we have this agreement in place. We've conducted different exercises to ensure that we knew how to collaborate together and quickly bring the resources that we need in these emergency situations. When we first hit the ground running with this pandemic, we proclaimed a state of emergency on March 11th, and that very same day we established Mary Safransky as our public health officer. We were able to, with support from the American Indian Health Commission, put our pandemic flu plan in place, medical countermeasures plan, and several other orders and resolutions to make sure we were ready to work through this pandemic. So some of those key collaborations that we have in place, in addition to the mutual aid agreement partners, are the DOH, Thurston County. We worked a lot with MRC and DOH as we began implementing our vaccine clinics, and of course our area, Portland Area Indian Health Board. Some of the main highlights of the work that we've done here at Nisqually: we do testing here on site. We have the Abbott and BinaxNOW, and we also have our CHRs derived specimens up to UW. For us, it's about an hour-and-a-half drive to bring those specimens up. We do our own contact tracing here with the nurse monitoring program. We were able to early on train our CNAs and even our dental team in contact tracing so that we could be sure that we had enough staff to handle that. We also converted essentially our cultural event center and campground into a quarantine and isolation site for our community. So we have another slide where we'll kind of go into more detail about that. We also, for about a year and a half, we just ended our shelter in place. And during that time, we had a barrier closing the reservation area off where we had screenings in order to enter the reservation area. We also do daily screenings to enter all buildings, and we do continue to have a mask order, which we're evaluating as we go along with the new CDC guidelines. We offer pharmacy prescription pickups curbside, which is something that our tribal members have been really appreciative of. We also started offering telemedicine services early on because we already had GoToMeeting as a platform internally. We just switched gears and started using that for our telemedicine services. So we have a couple of our providers even now rotating, working from home to offer those telemedicine services. We have an emergency management department who's been collaborating from the beginning, working in overdrive with our public health officer. They deliver meals for youth lunches and elder lunches. Right now, we're only doing, I think, once or twice a week. At one point, we were doing that fairly often. We are also distributing emergency resources and other kits, generators, whatever our community needs. And then I also have a slide. We also tried to quickly learn how to adapt our community outreach and engagement. So we started doing drive-through events, virtual events, just trying to find ways to safely bring resources to the community. So we have a picture in the upper left corner of our medical team doing outdoor testing early on and a couple of our community events, and our election, this is in the bottom right corner, our tribal council doing some outreach to promote voting here in the community. This slide here, we wanted to just give an overview of some of the main areas that we've been utilizing funding toward. So through the CARES Act and now as we move forward with the Recovery Act, some of the main areas that we've been focusing on are our infrastructure, our cleaning and disinfecting, making sure we have really good resources for that. We've ordered these Xenex robots and UVC UV disinfecting robots as well. We're using that in the clinic, in our Head Start building, anywhere that have high touch surfaces, high traffic areas. We immediately realized we needed a lot more temporary and contract support, so we were able to hire more MAs, security for the reservation, screeners, sanitation support. We've done, of course, a lot of different safety improvements in the offices for our back to work protocols. We've distributed HEPA filters and generators and just all sorts of supplies, and we've been able to invest in different technology support areas as well. And then another key area that we focused on is our outreach. Before the pandemic hit, we already provide these weekly mail outs that we send out to our tribal members. And we also have a website on our Nisqually government page. And so we were able to begin using that weekly mail out to get information out to the community. And we established a COVID-19 specific page on our website, but we also decided to start a public health Facebook page just so that all of our community that already use Facebook for some of our events and things, we could make sure we had a streamlined channel for communications. So these are just some of the resources that we've been putting up on that site. We also try to develop as many different tools as we could to make sure that all of our protocols were easy for our directors and for our staff to follow. This is one flow chart that we created for back to work. And it needs to be updated again. I'm working on that today with the newest CDC guidelines, but we just wanted to make sure that our directors were all clear on what our process is. If you've traveled out of state, if you've had a close contact or exposure, or if you're noticing any kind of irregular symptoms. So this is a resource that we've put out to our tribal staff here. And then the next slide we wanted to give you a little bit more information about our quarantine and isolation site. And I believe Tyrone is here and able to speak on that.
Yes, Brighton Creek, last March, tribal leadership chose Brighton Creek as a quarantine site. The campground is about 20 minutes away from the reservation, and this provides privacy for anyone that would want to go there and quarantine. The first 4 cabins were set up for families to quarantine. The main lodge on the campground was updated for emergency triage. While modifications were going on, FEMA and the tribe's public health officer did a walkthrough. After FEMA looked at the main lodge, they gave the tribe 10 hospital beds that were set up in the main lodge. And right now, Brighton Creek is set up and ready to be used as a quarantine site for any tribal members and their families if they choose to use it.
All right, and then I'll switch gears over to just some highlights about our vaccine implementation here at Nisqually. So this is just a snapshot of our priority distribution plan for Nisqually, we do have several different phases that we worked through. We have opened up since December 29th when we began to all of our phases, and we've kind of, as we've gone along, opened it up to other areas. We've included some of the nearby schools, our Northwest Indian Fishing Commission, and other community areas and organizations around here, just to make sure we can take care of us and everyone that comes into the reservation. So just kind of looking at our population, we have about 860 enrolled tribal members. We have 1,400 clinic patients. And right now we've fully vaccinated about 1,200 people. And so we have a couple of slides to share about that. We also wanted to share with our testing that we're doing in-house and specimens we're taking up to UW. About 1% of our tests have been positive. We've had about 30 positive cases to date. We do our own quarantine here. Our public health officer coordinates that. So we've had about 50 people total quarantined since we started. And we have had one COVID-related fatality here with a young person who had co-occurring disorders. And so this is something that has hit our community hard. We're a small reservation, but we've been doing the best we can with our contact tracing and with our quarantine protocols to keep everybody as safe as we can. And thankfully, we were able to start doing those vaccinations early on. We partner with the DOH for our vaccines. We do a combination of drive-through clinics, and then we use our gymnasium for indoor vaccinations as well. So when we first started, we started doing these drive-through events over at our youth center, and we used the parking lot with different stations. We were able to also bring in folks from DOH and MRC to help, so that we would have as many bodies as possible on hand, so we could do usually around 200 vaccinations during these full day massive vaccination events. So some pictures here. Over the course of the first couple of weeks, we were able to get a lot of our medical staff, tribal council, elders, and other community members in, so that we could try to get lots of outreach out to the community and have our medical provider, she's over here on the left, and our vice chair over on the right, share their stories, so we could try to engage the community as much as possible. And a couple of pictures here showing we had these drive-throughs, rain or shine. We had hand warmers at one point, and our youth center had their lunch staff providing coffee and lunches for all of the staff doing these events. It was just really great to see everyone coming together. DOH was able to adapt some of our protocols from our drive-throughs for the larger drive-through events here in Thurston County. So it was a really great partnership. And then looking at our vaccination rates, we still have a ways to go, but we are seeing some progress with our three key populations that we're tracking is our tribal membership, our tribal staff, and our enterprise staff. We have about 44% of all tribal members age 18 and up fully vaccinated right now. When we look at just our elder population, 55 and up, we're closer to 80%. But because we have seen this plateau, we are just about to launch an incentive for tribal members. And so we're hoping that'll help increase these vaccination rates along with the outreach materials and campaigning that we're doing. For tribal staff, we launched our incentive for staff, I'd say about a month and a half ago, and you can see, thankfully, we've seen a little bit of a spike in our vaccination rates. We're at 58, probably more like 60% since the last report I ran. And then looking at our enterprise staff, right now we're holding steady at about 52%. We continue to collaborate with enterprise on just having specific drive-through mass vaccination events as they recruit more staff. And then another population, we have our own public safety complex and jail here at Nisqually. And so we started vaccinating our inmate population about 3 weeks ago. And so far we've vaccinated almost 30 inmates. And that's something that's helping us as we do we're continuing to do vaccine clinics here for our priority distribution population. We're doing that 2 days a week in the gym, and whenever we have extra doses, we're able to quickly bring those over to the public safety complex. So it's been a really great collaboration so that we can kind of ensure that we don't have any waste at the end of the day, and to make sure we're getting our vulnerable inmate population as well. So I think those are all the slides that we have for you today so that we can make sure there's time for questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That's great. Just as a reminder to the attendees, if you have any questions, you'll see on your screen there is a chat space for you to type in a question that you may have. Any questions or comments that you want to direct for Amber and Tyrone, please feel free to send those through. They'd be happy to answer. They do have another minute or two here. Just due to timing, Amber and Tyrone, I don't see any questions coming in, so I'll probably just move on to the next presenter here. Karatina, we'll bring you up next if you're all set to go. Thank you again, Amber and Tyrone. That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Karatina, I will hand it over to you, and the floor is yours.
Great. My computer's a tiny bit slow. Please forgive me. Absolutely. I'm going to introduce myself. Good morning, everyone. My name is Karatina Gonzalez, and I am the Social Services Director for Samish Indian Nation. Here we go.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone, for being patient with me. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys, this is our logo, and I'm going to be talking a little bit today about the kinship caregiver program that I oversee, as well as the elder program that I assist with, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that the next few slides. A little bit about our tribe. We're a really small tribe, and the Samish people are known as the giving people. We have about 2,300 citizens. We have about half of them in Washington State, and then the rest are kind of all over the world, really. We have a tribal council it consists of 7 elected members. And I wanted to share our mission statement because I love it so much. I try always to share it, and it says, to preserve traditional knowledge and skills of our citizens, enrich our nation, and enable our people to thrive. And then that's a picture that I took from one of our canoe journeys a few years ago, and I wanted to share it with you. It has our flag on there. You can't see the name too well, but you'll get to see a couple more pictures in the next slide too. Let's see. These are also of our canoe journey. We have a building that's right off of the water in Anacortes. That's where we're centered out of. And then we have some trust property in on Fidalgo Island, excuse me. And I wanted to share these pictures with you. They were able to capture, lots of the people that attended, as well as the canoes in there. I also put the link on here to a video. It's a 20-minute video. It's of the story of the Maiden of Deception Pass. If you're not familiar with it and you want to jot it down, feel free. I'll leave that up for another second. It's really beautiful. It tells a lot about the history of the Samish people, and it has a lot of members of the council and tribal citizens that talk a little bit about their stories. So it's really beautiful. If you have time and you want to take a look at it, there's the link. It's the HTTPS one on the bottom. And I can always come back to it if you guys want me to come back to it. I'm gonna go to the next slide. I wanted to introduce you to our team. So the social services department consists of 4 people, and that's myself. And then I have 2 ICW workers who are the ICW and family support specialists, which is Donna Furchert and Sarah Beach. And then we have 1 social services support specialist. She's the one who's more in charge of the kinship program, and her name is Raina Roethi, and she's in the middle there. And then at the very end of the picture is Allison, and she's the elders program manager. And our team works really, really closely with her since we have a lot of shared clients. Gonna move on. Again, you know, like I mentioned, we have a 4-person team in social services. I put on there a little bit about our clients that we serve. We have 126 clients. 20 of them are in our kinship program. Some of them can be dually enrolled, so maybe they overlap in our ICW program as well, or in the elders program as well. I shared on here a little bit about each of our programs. For example, the kinship program, it serves all of Washington. ICW is nationwide. We have a victims of crime program that we serve in Washington as well. The BIA program, we serve 5 counties. And then our caregiver program, which is 3 counties, Skagit Island and San Juan. And that's the one that we help our elders in. And I'm going to talk a little bit now about I wanted to share a little bit about what we've been doing to help our elders during the pandemic. As you can imagine, I'm sure that all of the tribes are going through this on how we can still stay connected and help them not feel so isolated since everything moved to being more technology based. A lot of our elders struggle. I mean, technology changes all the time. I even struggle with it daily. And so, for example, with my slideshow. So I'm going to share a little bit about some of the things that we've been doing with our elders during the pandemic. We have a grocery and meal program that we have, and a lot of our staff help with it. So, for example, one team will take like, for example, all of Skagit or Cedar Woolley, and then another person will take over, for example, Mount Vernon, things like that. We'll break it up, and that way we're able to serve and deliver groceries and meals to our elders. And at this time, we have about 30 to 38. It just varies a little bit. And in those packets or the groceries, they get some information packages as well. So the next slides are just going to be a little bit about what we're doing with our elders. For the elders in the culture department, we've moved all of our activities to online. The elders are able to participate in as many of the classes as they want, and they actually also help in teaching the classes. Some of them that we have going on weekly are our loom beating. There's a song and drums, shawl making, and a history talk. We also were able to do our library inventory, online, so that way our elders and all of our citizens can check out books and videos. And let's see. We also send out activity books to the elders, and there's an interactive website that they can use online, and they get lots of support from IT and from the culture department, and all of Samish, really, if they need any help with any of those technology things. I'm going to check the time. Okay, let's see. This is talking a little bit more about the platform that I was mentioning, where we do some of the cultural activities, but along with that, they also added in something for the elders just to be able to gather together, and they're able to connect and have conversations. You know, for example, they used to meet all the time in one of our buildings where they could share a meal, get checked by the health department, different things. And so this brings back some of that again, where they're able to communicate with each other, share games like bingo. Let's see, this has been, we've gotten a lot of feedback that this has been so well received through our community and with the elders, so much so that we have decided to offer it also after the COVID and when things go back to normal, whenever that happens. because it's been so well received. So we're excited about that. We're able to have elders join that maybe would not have in the past because of the distance. It's located in Anacortes, you know, again, where we had our building. And so some people can't make it due to health reasons or it being too far away. So this gives them the opportunity to still join and be together and share conversations and stories and stuff. And let's see, on average, we have about 48 elders attend this. And then I put on there that at each one of them, they're given a crafting giveaway that's sent home to them for each online event. I'm going to move on to the next slide. Oh, I kind of messed up on the slide there. This is called the Hello Friend program. So again, we're trying to be creative on activities that we're doing with our elders and keeping them connected and safe at the same time. And one of them, the projects that we came up with was the Hello Friend project, and it's like a pen pal program, and it's with our students from the Longhouse and the elders. They exchange different things. So they do stuff like crafts, cards, coloring sheets, and drawings, and then they exchange them together. One of our spring projects this spring is going to be a greeting card. The kindergartners are going to have a drive-through graduation party, and the elders are helping make lots of different crafts to put inside of their baggies. And so I added a picture on here so you could see some of the cards that the elders made to include inside of their graduation bags. I'm going to move on to the next slide. And this is another program that we've been doing with the elders. Let's see. We have been sending them activities at home, and one of them is, let's see, this one was a vegetable garden. So they're able to choose if they want to do something inside or outside, and they get all of the tools that they need. So if they need pots and soil, they get all of that good stuff. And here's a picture of someone helping get their stuff together. Some other things that they get to do is, again, a bingo at home. And then there's also activities like puzzles, word search puzzles and books, crosswords, crafting, coloring books, and all of the coloring pencils that they need and markers and such. I'm going to move on to the next slide. This is we did a self-care basket for our elders to show them that we were thinking of them, along with other things that we are constantly getting for them, like masks and things like that. But we put together these kits in December. We put some together for the caregivers, and there's an example of them. They have just some goodies so that they know that we're thinking of them, like some soap, some nice smelling candles, a plant, things like that, some snacks. And then we were able to give some out again in spring of this year to our kinship caregivers. Let's see, this is just a little bit more of some of our things that we were doing to protect our elders, like giving them out some of the items like the masks, like I had mentioned, hand sanitizers, cleaning supplies, information about the vaccines. We partnered together with another tribe with Stillaguamish, and we were able to have our citizens and staff and families participate in that so that they could get their vaccines, and that was really wonderful. I'm going to move on to the next slide. And then here's our contact information. I included my phone number and my email in our website if you're interested in finding out more. There's lots of great information about all the departments on there, and just some of the stuff that we're doing. I believe you can find our events calendar on there. And that's all that I have. If anyone has any questions, I think I still might have a couple of minutes, and I'm going to stop sharing. Anybody have any questions? I don't think that I see any in here.
Thank you so much, Caratina. We'll definitely wait another minute or two for some questions. I know there was one that came in that people wanted the link that you referenced earlier. If there's any other comments or questions, please feel free to ask them. You know, they're here to answer those.
Absolutely. I'll include that in the link as soon as we're done, and that way you guys can check out the video. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us on. We were really excited to share some of that information on what the tribe is doing during the pandemic. It's wonderful to see how creative and how unique and how great we're all doing at keeping everyone still connected and safe and healthy. So thank you so much for letting us share our stuff as well.
So we do have one question. Do you have an elders website with the tribe? Catalina, I think that's for you. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Let's see. If you go to the website for the tribe, you can also just Google Samish Indian Nation, and on there it will have there's somewhere on there where it will say departments, and to see more information, if you click on that, it will take you to all of the departments, and then you can find the elders tab there, and it will give you a lot more information on there. There will be like a number to call or an email if you want more information. I believe the calendar is somewhere on there. I'm not too familiar on seeing it, how it looks for the public, forgive me, but we have a calendar on there where, for example, they have all of the events that the tribe holds. I know that they do some weekly. I'm not sure exactly how many. I know they do one for sure, maybe two, where they have, for example, the chairman go on and do some history talk, and then like I said before, you know, just some of the other examples of different activities like the beading. They do the hats, lots and lots of really amazing activities that they do on there if you're interested. So one more time, I just go to the website, and then on there you would look for departments, and on there it has all the departments, and you would click on the one that you want more information for. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, and I will just read off just a quick, very neat what you and your program are doing for your elders and caregivers. So thank you. So I do have another question. Was it hard to get the elders to join the Zoom meeting? And did you have staff help them sign into it?
I'm going to come back on again and answer your question. I hope it works like this. It was very hard to get the elders, not necessarily to want to join. It's more the technology piece, as all of you know, I'm sure. For example, again, you know, I struggled with sharing my PowerPoint today. Technology changes so much, and it's so hard for elders when they're home alone and maybe don't have that support or assistance. And so we have really great teams from the IT department and also from just different staff, like in the culture department or the elders program or our program, for example, the social service department, that we just really are, you know, we walk alongside with them. And so if they're needing us to call them on the phone to try to help assist with that, we try to do whatever we can. We were working from home, so we did not go out to the homes, but we were able to help get them connected. And sometimes, for example, through our program, I didn't share a whole lot about our program. I was trying to focus on the elders, but if they needed, for example, a way to be able to connect, like a tablet, then we were able to purchase that for some of our families so that they can still remain connected to, for example, if they were doing virtual doctor's appointments or meetings, and especially staying in contact with us. That way they could stay in contact with the tribe, for example, with all of the things that we were doing to help them, like the vaccines and all of our culture activities still. And for example, we did our, goodness, it just left my mind, but we did our annual general council meeting, excuse me, in June of last year, and we did it through a live event, and it was really well attended. And really well received, and the way that we did it, it was just the same as this platform here. But again, it was really difficult, as you can imagine, with the technology piece, but I'm really happy to say that all of our elders are really loving being able to stay connected. We're really hands-on, so anything that they need for any of the projects, I forgot to mention that they get that through the mail. So if they're signing up for doing the Loom meeting, activity for the following week, then they will get a kit in the mail with all of the materials that they need so that they're ready to go for the event, not the event, I'm sorry, for the class, for example. So it's really wonderful. It's turned into a really wonderful program and our elders really love it. I hope I answered your question. Please let me know if you have more questions.